If you've been developing npm packages for a while and use build tools like TypeScript, you probably know that sometimes your packages behave differently after being built. Whether it's due to some magic the TypeScript compiler is doing, differences between ESM and CommonJS, or something else entirely, it's extremely frustrating to publish a package only to find out that it's broken. There are tools like your package manager's link command and Yalk available to help simulate publishing packages, but these tools each have their own limitations that may make your code behave differently than once published. For example, most link commands have some shortcomings related to symlinks, and Yalk has its own lock file as opposed to integrating directly with your existing package manager. Wouldn't it be nice if you could truly end-to-end test your npm packages? This is where Verdaccio comes in. Verdaccio is more than just a tool for end-to-end testing, though. It's an open source, full-fledged npm registry. So while I'll be going over how to use Verdaccio for end-to-end testing, there are other use cases like hosting your own instance as a private registry for your organization, or hosting locally for installing npm packages while offline. Now that you have some context for what Verdaccio is, let's dive in. The easiest way to get started with Verdaccio is to use their Docker image. Simply pull down the image and run it while forwarding the port Verdaccio is hosted on. Next, let's set up a user so that we can log into the npm registry. Once you've created your user, you should be able to check out the Verdaccio UI at localhost 4873. Awesome. Before we publish a package, we need to create one locally. If you've already got one in mind, you can skip this step. We're going to first run npm init to get a package JSON going. Note, in this package, I'm going to be calling it mytestpackage1. Next, we'll configure the project's npm-rc to point to the Verdaccio npm registry at localhost 4873. Now that we're directing our npm registry to our local Verdaccio instance, let's try installing a package like TypeScript. Once the package is installed, if you take a look at the project's package lock, you should notice that the resolved URL seems to be pointing to our local Verdaccio instance. If you've been following along, you might have noticed that there were no packages published to Verdaccio before. So where did this package come from? Well, Verdaccio supports a concept known as uplinks. Verdaccio describes uplinks as the following. An uplink is a link with an external registry that provides access to an external package. I like to think of an uplink as a way of aggregating packages across multiple registries while serving them all from a single domain. By default, Verdaccio contains an uplink for the public npm registry, which is where TypeScript is currently being pulled from. This allows you to easily pull your private packages and public packages all from the same registry. Next, let's do a few more things to make sure our package is ready for publish. First, we're going to create a tsconfig JSON by running tsc init. If needed, we can make configurations as necessary. In this example, I'm going to just use the following. Next, we'll update the package JSON to have a TypeScript build step and to point to the correct compiled files. Finally, we need to actually create some code that we want to publish. For the purposes of keeping this video simple and focused on end-to-end testing, we will create a very simple function that we want to package. As you can see, it simply takes in a value and then returns that exact same value. Now you should be ready to publish your package. We'll run npm publish and then let the magic happen. Congratulations, you've just published your first package to Verdaccio. But what about testing that functionality? To test this functionality, we'll set up a new npm package where we intend to install the package. Setup for this package is identical to how we set up the previous published package, but we can stop once the npm-rc is set up. Next, let's navigate into the new packages directory and install our published package. Now that the package is installed, let's create a short script to verify the function is working as intended. If everything is working as expected, you should be able to verify the script runs successfully with Node. This is pretty cool, but wouldn't it be much better if we could run automated test suites to verify this functionality? I think that the easiest way to incorporate a test suite into your project these days is to add vtest. Next, let's create a boilerplate vtest config file, and then we'll create a simple unit test for our published package using vtest. Finally, let's add a script to the package JSON so we can easily run the test suite. Now, you should be able to run your automated test suite with just npm run test. Next, let's look at running the test suite as part of your CI. I'll be using GitHub Actions in this video, which turns out to be fortunate because GitHub Actions allows you to provide a services definition to your jobs. This allows you to run containerized services alongside your CI jobs. In this case, we'll provide our job an instance of the Verdaccio image we used locally. From here, you should be able to use the Verdaccio instance for both installing and publishing packages from your CI job. In my example job, I've set up a few different steps to the job. We first check out the code, which is a pretty standard first step for GitHub Actions. We then set up our CIs and PMRC to point to the Verdaccio instance. Next, we have a step to actually build and publish the package we want to test. And finally, we install the newly published package and make sure that the test suite can still run successfully. And that's end-to-end testing with the Verdaccio in a nutshell. While this setup might not be necessary for every project, I think that Verdaccio provides a superior service for testing packages than tools like npm link and Yalk, due to both being a full-fledged npm registry, as well as providing a completely ephemeral environment to install and publish packages. I hope that this was useful for you, and as always, the code is linked in the description. Happy coding!